A Hollywood star, marketing maniac, and recently transformed football fanatic, Ryan Reynolds does it all and keeps us all in fits of laughter while doing it. One of the highest-grossing film actors of all time, the movies that Ryan Reynolds has starred in have taken in more than $5 billion in combined box office receipts. Much of his career has seen Reynolds genre hop from rom-coms to action flicks to more serious drama. He is best known for playing witty and slightly unstable characters, such as his starring role in the Deadpool franchise, which brought his stardom to new heights. The charismatic Canadian actor with looks that could kill was named People magazine's Sexiest Man of the Year in 2010. Fans fawn over him, but there is much more to this actor than good looks.
You know, I love telling stories, so finding homes for stories is usually a pretty lovely thing when you can find a place to tell a story. So.
His determination has propelled him down many different avenues. As an actor, writer, producer, and business owner, he has found triumph in all his ventures. Reynolds, born on the 23rd of October 1976, grew up in an Irish Catholic family in Vancouver, Canada. He considers himself to be the odd one out in the family, and once said, "My family is as far from a stage family as you could possibly find." His father was a policeman, and his mother was a retail salesperson. He had 3 older brothers, all of whom became policemen too. But Ryan had a different path to explore. He kicked off his acting career at the mere age of 12 with an open casting call for the Canadian teen soap opera 15, now known as Hillside.
So I'll see you there. I don't want him to move out, and I'll tell him that. But I think it'll be okay.
Ryan reflects later in his life that it is his stubborn nature that drove him to audition for the role.
The very first audition I ever had was this show came to town. They're doing like a cattle call, which means anyone can go. And they'd also called every school and said, give us your 4 best drama students. And I didn't get picked. And it just kind of bugged me. I think it just kind of irked me that I wasn't chosen. I didn't particularly have any aspirations to be an actor at that point. I didn't like the fact that I wasn't selected as this part of this elite group that got to go audition for this this TV show. And it was an open casting call, so I just said, screw it. I went down and I ended up getting the role, you know. So my career is built upon the sturdy foundation of spite.
Yes, he gained a recurring role in the CBC fantasy series The Odyssey.
It's completely unfair. I won.
The decision of the head judge, also the only judge, also the supreme commander of the world, is final. My Poochie needs me. I'm going home now.
Well, high school is just horrible for anyone, I think. I mean, it should not be a mandatory program that they put kids in. I mean, it's awful. It's just that, you know, your body's betraying you. You're going through puberty. You have emotions running through the roof and hormones going all over the place. And you're in a social scheme that's, you know, set up as a built-in horrific hierarchy with grades. I just hated it. I hated it. And you know, it's always a torturous point of contention, I think, for a lot of people.
It is safe to say that Ryan Reynolds didn't excel at school. And at just 19 years old, he took the first chance he could to leave education and move to Los Angeles. He then landed the role of Berg in the ABC sitcom 2 Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. In this role, Reynolds was able to develop his comedic timing.
Okay. Dr. Bergen, name the valve in the colon that regulates discharge.
Okay, here we go. The colon.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. It's on the tip of my tongue, okay? Well, no, not really. That would be...
It also landed him a lead role in Van Wilder, a college comedy that became a cult classic.
Good to see you. Hey, how you doing?
Fine. That's good. Did you ever imagine that it was going to be this big and this thing was being...
No, I didn't. When we were making it, I certainly had no idea it was going to be this big. I mean, you know, when you make these movies and you do like that, you know, the budget's relatively modest, and then the studio sees it and they put like 5 times the amount of your budget into the marketing campaign. It's sort of heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time, so.
What about for you? What was school for you? As fun as...
School for me was no, you know, not nearly as fun as Van Wilder's school. I wish we had a Van Wilder at our school. We had a guy who did funny voices for beer, but that got old. That's about it. Yeah, I would love to have had a Van. I would have loved to have had an experience even close to this. So if I did, I probably, you know, I'd still be there.
Well, what about what is next? I know that you were going to be doing a movie in Spain.
Yeah, that's next for me. Romford Matador. Yeah.
And do you know more about it?
I don't really. Other than to say I leave in end of May. So it's a great script, great director, great people involved. So.
Could you give us a hint of what it's going to be?
It's about a guy who's a little bit of unrequited genius that he needs to sort out, and he goes to Spain to meet his muse. Yeah.
Well, good luck on that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Ryan Reynolds starred in The Nines, a science fiction psychological thriller released in 2007. He was thrilled to be a part of this film, where he played 3 separate characters in alternative realities that are folding in on each other.
Each character represents an aspect of a greater entity. The biggest challenge was to not overindulge in each one. I mean, it's really tempting to kind of, we thought about the third piece, maybe he's Australian or Scottish or something, and it just didn't, it was just, it certainly started to feel like an excuse to just make him wildly different from the other ones. And I think the challenge was to not make the characters polarized, make them so extremely different from one another.
In one, he is a screw-up actor and cokehead who has torched his girlfriend's house and is now subjected to house arrest in a spiffy Hollywood pad that the studio has borrowed for him. In the second universe, he is the successful TV writer who has loaned his home to the studio. And in the third, he is a hotshot video game designer and the author of highly detailed alternative realities in which his avatar creations play out their invented existences.
It's a beautiful story. Specifically, I like that the film raises a question as opposed to answers something, yet didn't really diminish from the fulfillment you feel at the end of it. So I think that was the biggest draw for me.
His Hollywood stardom was truly established in the 2000s, where he landed lead roles in many romantic comedies. In 2009, Ryan filmed a movie called The Proposal, which became the highest-grossing romantic comedy domestically.
Well, I think there's something that you should know. We're getting married. We are getting married.
Who is getting married?
You and I. You and I are getting married. Yes.
We are.
Getting married.
We are getting married.
Yes.
Isn't he your secretary?
Assistant?
Executive.
The film earned $160 million and became the 10th best-performing film of the summer, later earning $300 million worldwide. In The Proposal, Ryan plays Andrew Paxton, the assistant to publishing executive Margaret Tate, played by Sandra Bullock.
This is the story of the world's most bizarre office romance, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It doesn't get much stranger.
No, but if you talk to many people who've had office romances, they're all pretty weird.
They are weird. They are weird. Like, they'll look at each other and go, remember the lunch card? Like, what about the lunch book?
Remember the photocopier?
What are you talking? Oh, God, yeah. There's a sanitary place to put your face.
Or the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the other side's been there.
Yeah, I got it.
So, did you play on any personal experiences during this film? Office romances, terrible bosses?
I haven't had a lot of office romances. I mean, before I worked before I was in showbiz adjacent, I was working in a warehouse midnight to 8 a.m. for 2 years. So.
Oh, what were you doing?
Stocking shelves, throwing exotic fruit at one another.
Brilliant.
All that sort of.
Surely office romances blossom in such environments.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, Rick was gorgeous, but he was married and he had kids, and I just thought kind of let sleeping dogs lie.
Chemistry is not something you can work out, and that's kind of the trick. It's a real dumb luck kind of scenario. Sandra and I have been friends for about 9 years, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna have chemistry. So we really, just found it the first day. It was there, and we felt like we won the lottery. Yeah.
Now, as far as I just heard you say.
The long-lasting and close friendship between Reynolds and Bullock sparked rumors that the pair might become an item in real life. However, both consistently shut down the rumors, maintaining that they were just good friends. In 2011, Ryan starred alongside Blake Lively in the DC film Green Lantern, which went on to become one of the biggest box office bombs in history. It grossed just $219 million from a $200 million budget and received terrible reviews. Ryan appreciated the movie's failure, describing the reaction of the feeling of watching the premiere. Watching that, oh my God, it's tough. During the filming of Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds was married to Scarlett Johansson, and his co-star, Blake Lively, was dating Penn Badgley. Both relationships came to an end in 2011, and just a year later, Reynolds married Lively. As they met when Ryan was still married, cheating rumors sparked. The couple have since stated that during filming, they were just friends.
I see it. I always have.
Their romance apparently began after filming, when the pair went on a double date together, each with different dates. Despite being on dates with different people, sparks flew between the couple, and the rest is history. The movie Safe House was released in 2012. Reynolds starred alongside Denzel Washington, and the film was non-stop action.
Seeing the film, I was shocked with how much action there was. I don't remember it being quite like that. So, yeah, it was intense. The movie just once it starts going, it just doesn't stop. It's incredibly sort of thrilling and exciting.
Now on the run, in real life and under fire, who would be better under pressure, you or Denzel?
Wow, I'm gonna go with the guy who has tenure. Denzel, he's got a little bit more experience than me. I think I'm gonna have to say that he might be a little bit cooler under fire, though.
You've got youth on your side.
Okay, though. When I'm under fire, I'm all right.
Okay. Yeah. Did you ever on set accidentally punch Denzel in the face? Because you guys kind of face off a couple of times. Did you?
No, I did clock him with my head, though, by accident, and give him a black eye. That doesn't feel good on your second week of shooting, so. In the car, there's a car chase or car scene where we're fighting in an uncontrolled car. It's going 80 miles an hour, and it's very difficult to sort of position your body inside the car. Well, he was in the back seat trying to choke me, and somehow my head went back when his head went forward, and next thing I know, we stopped shooting. He's got ice on his face.
In 2013, Ryan had a shot at voice acting in an animated movie. He played the titular protagonist, Turbo, a garden snail that dreams of being a racer.
My name is Turbo.
I'm Whiplash. This here is my crew.
Reynolds continued to enjoy voice acting and starred in the movie The Voices, in which he played Jerry Hickfang and the voices of Bosco, Mr. Whiskers, the deer, and Bunny Monkey.
Oh, independent film is always the most fun. It's it's a privilege to be able to do it. You have the most freedom. You're around the most impressively talented group of people always, and there isn't really like an investment in the outcome the way there is in the studio system. There's an investment in making something indelible and something interesting and something new and shaking things up a little bit. So when you're in an environment like that, you feel safe to really kind of explore it. And in playing Jerry in The Voices, I've never felt more safe and able to just kind of, drop any and all vanity and just have fun and let go.
The film follows the story of Jerry, who struggles with schizophrenia and suffers hallucinations of his pets speaking to him.
I want to die. Take your knife and cut my throat.
Hi, Jerry. Yeah?
You remember last week when you said there was an invisible line that separates good from evil, and you thought you'd crossed it, and I said, no, you're a good boy?
Yeah, I remember. So what?
I've changed my opinion.
Aye. Fuck the dog. Do it for the pleasure it brings. Come on, Jerry.
Jerry's a guy I know. He's the guy I know doesn't chop people up, but or murder anything, but he's loosely based on him, and you always try to grab a piece of your world or a piece of your life and sort of put it on screen. Otherwise, it feels inauthentic. So I'm borrowing liberally from a person I know in my life.
Originally, the pets were intended to be voiced by other actors. However, Reynolds sent a voice note to director Marjane Satrapi, and Satrapi realized that it made perfect sense for all the voices to be performed by Ryan.
You know, one thing that's always been good to me are the films that I've really been passionate about and really chased and really wanted to be a part of. So, and this was no different than that. This is something I think experimental, something unusual, something that gives an audience a real debate at the end of the film, and that's the thing that you love. Even if they don't like it, I love that. I just love that it struck a chord in such a way that they really need to talk about it or discuss it. So that's what's great about Sundance. That's what's great about these Q&As and this chance for everyone to interact, the filmmakers and the audience and the directors and the producers and everyone to interact with the audiences.
The Captive came out in 2014. Ryan Reynolds starred as Matthew Lane, and the film was directed by Adam Agoyan, with whom Reynolds thoroughly enjoyed working with.
I've worked with a lot of directors that, I worked with a director years ago that said, don't blink. Come on. And I said, what do you mean don't blink? Can I treat myself to a blink every hour just to lubricate the eyeballs, or I don't understand? And he said, it betrays vulnerability. And I just thought, wow, that right there is grade A shit direction. What I love about working on a set like this, though, is that you have that ability to just be everything and be vulnerable, and in a moment that calls for anger, you can actually go the other way, and Adam will sit with it, and he'll tell you, certainly, if he doesn't feel it's the right way to go. But for me, it was a real relief. It was just something that I really needed at that time.
You just blinked 24 times.
I certainly did. I'm a proud blinker. Yes.
Ryan Reynolds found critical and commercial success producing and starring in the movie Deadpool. The films are considered a game changer for the Marvel Universe. As an R-rated movie, it differs from most other family-friendly superhero movies. He played the foul-mouthed, anarchic anti-hero of the movie. The part established him as a leading actor in Hollywood.
Oh, I'm touching myself tonight.
I mean, he occupies a space in the comic book universe that nobody else occupies, or I don't think could occupy. I mean, he addresses the audience directly. He thinks, he says the things that the audience might be thinking, like, wow, that was a really expensive scene we just did, or what, he just sort of breaks down all these barriers that you would otherwise never be able to do, and that's particularly, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the DC Cinematic Universe, they're beholden to telling a story that fans wholeheartedly invest in, and that's a beautiful thing. But it's not. It does limit them in as much as they can't. They can't obviously directly address the audience. They can't be meta. They can't bring in pop culture references, those sorts of things. So Deadpool sort of feels more of the people to me in the sense that it's. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the internet. I mean, I tried to get the movie made since 2004, and it wasn't until the internet roared and made it happen that we got to put the suit on for the first time and really do this movie. So, I always just think of Deadpool as something that's a little bit more down and dirty, and and it's I don't know. I've never found a role that I connected with as much as Deadpool, and allowed me to be as free as Deadpool, and I'm always so grateful for that. So.
The release of Deadpool became a major turning point in Reynolds' career.
On a professional level, the movie I worked 11 years to get made, finally got made, and seemed to make some kind of footprint, so it's exciting, yeah. The one thing I think that's magical about Hollywood and that's been preserved about Hollywood throughout the decades is that anything can happen, and I think Deadpool and its success is sort of an example of that. So yeah, I love working with Jim Moore. I mean, those guys are great, and just they make it so much fun, and then they let you just kind of play around with their digital content. So they let me kind of goof around with this little roast I did of myself, and that was a lot of fun. It's a sort of something that I think a lot of young guys look at as something that's sort of unattainable. So to be standing here as one of their men of the year is sort of a pinch me kind of moment. So.
The road to creating the movie was not smooth, and it took nearly 10 years to get made.
My wife has been an enormous help in every way. I mean, she's particularly on Deadpool. She sat with me through so many sleepless nights. I was that thing really did, not just me, but the other parts of the team. That took our last drop of blood to get that thing going. It was an 11-year process for me, and once you finally get to that place where you're shooting it, I slept every night at a perfect right angle and a silent scream. So she was just incredible, just to calm me down and keep me kind of sane. And there was a minute where I thought maybe I shouldn't do the movie, just because it had been this thing that had such a build-up, and she was the one that said, you got to do it. You absolutely have to do it. This is your dream. This is your dream role, the role you're meant to play, so you've got to go out there and do it. So she's been epic for me in every way, yeah.
The first Deadpool movie was released in February 2016. It is considered a movie that redefined the genre and started a franchise of its own.
I would love to see Deadpool as president.
Of President of the United States, or
as his advisor.
Yeah.
What do you think their main policies would be?
Well, certainly immigration, me being Canadian.
Yeah, that would be first on the list.
Yeah, we'd really want to get into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second is allowing cuss words all across the media in every platform.
Yeah, and they love building walls, so I would probably build a wall around David Hasselhoff, I'm guessing.
Everybody should have a gun, but it only is the one that squirts water or has the bang flag come out of it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Wrapping up.
Deadpool 2 was really just probably the most fun experience I've ever had making a movie, because we didn't have the burden of an origin story to tell or anything like that. We got to kind of hit the ground running and tell a story that we'd wanted to tell since shooting Deadpool 1.
Deadpool 2 was a commercial success and became the highest-grossing film of all time. While Reynolds was in South Korea promoting Deadpool 2, he appeared on The Masked Singer to spice up his press tour. The crazy marketing stunt was effective and gained worldwide recognition.
Man, this spot, on this street. He is a creative force of nature, famously a brilliant actor, drama, comedy, improvisation, physicality, emotion, truth. Less well-known, a brilliant writer, creative, funny, terrific at plot, structure, character, everything it takes to tell a tale.
His instincts run to every detail on a movie. Deadpool's blue Crocs, Deadpool's taste in music, wham! Deadpool's stuffed unicorn, complete with the assless chaps. We like to joke, Ryan not only makes everyone else on a movie look better at their job, he is oftentimes better at their job than they are. That includes us. Ryan actually wrote this speech.
But here's a dirty little secret. This town, Hollywood, is full of people who spend so much time trying to be great, they forget to be good. What we love most about Ryan is that he's not just a great man, he's also a good man. And the first has never, ever come at the cost of the second.
We have a Google alert, keyword Ryan Reynolds. Google emails us every time an article about Ryan is written. That's not weird, is it? A recent article described Ryan as incredibly likable. Not lickable, likable. Though that's surely been written about him too. We actually bristled at the word likable because there's an inactive quality to it. People either like you or they don't, and there's not much you can do about it.
We would suggest a better word for Ryan. Kind. Simply incredibly kind. Kind doesn't describe Ryan, it defines him. His life is built on solid foundations of love, family, friendship, thoughtfulness. We shot Deadpool in Vancouver, Ryan's hometown. One day, a teen girl visited set. She was battling cancer, and her one wish was to meet Deadpool. On the spot, Ryan did that wish one better. He broke off a camera and crew and shot a scene where Deadpool rescues the girl's cat from a tree. There was no press in attendance, no public, just one human connecting with another. Not a great man, a good man.
Ryan, we are extraordinarily honored to be speaking on your behalf today here in front of your beautiful family, friends, and fans. They say diamonds are forever. Well, our good friend, so is cement. Unless, of course, you run for president and someone attacks your star with a sledgehammer. But you can't because you're Canadian, and they never would, well, because you're Canadian. And the greatest, goodest guy we know. Congratulations on this momentous day. We love you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, another big hand for Ryan Reynolds.
In December 2016, Reynolds received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
All right. So it's time to hear from our honoree. And so, Ryan, let me just say by final way of introduction that we hereby declare this Ryan Reynolds Day in Hollywood.
Wow, thank you, Laurent, and the Chamber of Commerce. This is an incredible, wow, this is an incredible moment for me on so many levels. I'm sitting here looking out at so many people I love and respect, and many people who have put me up here as well. So this is just absolutely unbelievable for me on so many levels. I walked down this street actually when I was 15 years old for the very first time with my big brother Patrick, who's sitting right there, and none of this was here. This was a Holiday Inn, believe it or not. And we left our room in the middle of the night to walk down this boulevard, partly because we were curious, but also partly because it was very apparent that the person in the hotel room next door was being murdered. So we were frightened. But we came down here and we walked along this boulevard and we saw all these names and all these legends. And for me to have my name among them now is, it's just beyond anything I could have ever imagined. I always thought that if I got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, that it would be in Burbank. So it's nice that it's here. It's incredible that it's here. I just want to, I'm not supposed to talk long, so I really want to focus on my family, for one. My brothers, Patrick, Terry, Jeffrey, who are here. They're my big brothers. They've taught me everything you'd need to know about love, friendship, unprovoked violence. These guys could, my poor parents in their home, these guys could turn any wall or window into an exit immediately. I want to thank my mom, Tammy, who's here, who's, I mean, it baffles me that you have not stabbed all four of us at some point, because Lord knows we deserve it. You have four boys that each and every one of them would give their last drop of blood for you. And I think that speaks less to the character of your boys and more to the character within you. So, you know, it's very true. And you have a son that has worked in show business for over 2 decades, and I've never been in jail or rehab. And I think we both know why that is. So I'm very good at hiding things. I want to thank my wife, Blake, who is sitting right there, who is everything to me. You are the best thing that has ever happened to me. Second only to this star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Cut me some slack here. You make everything better. I mean, absolutely everything in my life better. You've given us 2 of the most incredible children that I could ever hope to have. You've made me the father of my dreams when I thought I only had fun uncle potential. So, thank you. I love you. And the last thing I'll say before I get off this stage is a tricky one, about my dad. And he's no longer with us. He never made things easy on anyone, especially himself. But you know, he would have got a real kick out of this. So this is also for him. Yeah, thank you.
In 2019, Reynolds returns to his voiceover work, starring as the titular role Pikachu. He was praised for his energetic performance that brought life to the script.
Yeah, he's like a little, Pikachu in this movie is a little bit like if Deadpool were completely recalibrated for any age group on Earth. So there's still that same sort of kind of acerbic, fun bite that I love doing in films, but it's it's through the lens of Pokemon, which is cool.
He starred alongside Dwayne Johnson and Gal Gadot in Red Notice in 2021. The film was not well received, but Reynolds maintained his quick wit that shines through in almost all of his movies.
I know it sort of feels like rote or stock, but it's the camaraderie. I mean, I've known DJ for over 20 years now, so to have this amount of time where we just get to play in the sandbox together was amazing. I've known Gal for maybe 10 years. So we all had this kind of built-in chemistry that was just natural and easy right off the bat, so it was really nice. There's this sort of action sequence I do on scaffolding that's about 4 stories high. That was a little crazy. I had a couple of moments there where I was saying, what? I don't know if I'm in the right shape for this right now. That was a little nuts. I did a lot of my stunts. You have to do as much as possible because these are high-definition cameras, but I have a great stunt guy that I work with Dan Stevens and Johnny James, and they were always around and able to jump in there. Oh, I think you're not going to find a threesome like this come along, ever really. So, leave it to Netflix to figure out some way to make it happen. And it's a really special movie for that reason. I mean, there's obviously incredible action and comedy and adventure and all that kind of stuff. And I love a treasure hunt personally. Like, the movie is a bit of a treasure hunt. So growing up, I loved Indiana Jones and those kinds of films where at the end of the, proverbial rainbow, there was a treasure there. And that's sort of a little bit of what this movie's about. So.
One thing that links together all of these movies is Ryan Reynolds' sharp humor, often born from his improvisation on set. During his career, Reynolds has played some serious roles. However, he has never quite managed to break out of the mold of playing those dry-witted and permanently quipping characters he is known for. In November 2020, alongside It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia star Rob McElhenney, Reynolds bought the ailing football club Wrexham AFC. 4 tiers below the Premier League, Wrexham was floating directionless. Reynolds and McElhenney were both moved by the story of Wrexham AFC, who are the 3rd oldest football club in the world.
It's terrifying, but it's also what makes it so exciting.
Yes.
I admittedly didn't know that much about how that worked until I spoke with Rob and got a little bit more connected to the football system. But that's everything. I mean, that's what makes it so. There are real stakes. There are huge stakes for everyone.
That was the key. That was the key to the entire thing working, where we recognized, oh wow, you really could not just theoretically act practically. You could take a team, and teams have done it, from a league, the league we're in right now, to go all the way up. Now, no one has gone from our league all the way up to the Premier League, but we've gone from the National League. Some clubs have gone to the National League to the Championship, so we're obviously going to try and go a little bit further.
I'm mortified that I haven't been able to get to Wrexham because of obvious restrictions with travel right now and all throughout the last year. But so anytime I can kind of reach out to the community of Wrexham and do something, I'm happy to do it. I'm incredibly excited about this project that I have with Rob McElhenney, which is, I wouldn't really call it a project. It's an endeavor. It's all kinds of things. I don't want to minimize it. It's our work in Wrexham has as much to do with the football club as it does the community that surrounds it. So it's been really exciting, and it's been a lot of fun, especially in these last couple of friendly matches we've had too. It's been really exciting to see the team go.
McElhenney reached out to Reynolds about sponsoring the club.
And it wasn't until I called Ryan before my wife was like, oh, okay, that sounds like a good idea.
Reynolds replied, I don't want to sponsor Wrexham. I want to buy them with you. Reynolds and McElhenney completely threw themselves into the community of Wrexham, learning bits of Welsh and enjoying pints in the local pub. But they also took their investment into the club seriously and made TikTok the club's leading sponsor. This investment increased the club's revenue tenfold. Wrexham have now sealed a long-awaited promotion back to the Football League for the first time in 15 years.
Genuinely, you know, everyone's standing here has forgotten more about football than I will probably ever know. But I love a story and I love building, you know, and I like building in a sustainable way. And I think that's the key to this is, you know, as much as we love to fire off at the mouth and say we're going to go to the Premier League, I mean, right now it's just one step at a time, one day at a time. We want to grow the club. We want to grow it in the community in a way that is you know, giving the club the respect that it deserves and certainly the community around it. So.
Deadpool, yeah, keep being told off for that. I've never heard of it. But
He's
I'm not...
a very sweary superhero.
All right, you do all right in Wrexham then?
God, it's comedy's everything. I mean, it's, I don't know, as far back as, you know, Jack Benny. It's much farther. It's one of the greatest tools for social commentary on the planet. It's, you know, it's in the best of times, it's amazing, and in the worst of times, it's even better. So, I don't know, for me, it's a real shelter in the storm.
Reynolds has revealed that he sometimes suffers with mental health and his mind can spin out of control, but he has little rituals that keep him grounded. He has also revealed that he will give interviews in character to make him feel less exposed. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have welcomed 4 children into the world. James Reynolds, born on December 16, 2014, Inez Reynolds, born on September 30, 2016, and Betty Reynolds, born on October 4, 2019, and their 4th child, born in February 2023, and as of December 2, 2023, they are still yet to publicly announce the name of their child. Their 3rd child, Betty, had her name publicly revealed by the couple's close friend Taylor Swift in her song of the same name. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are regarded highly for their philanthropic efforts. They have supported various organizations, including those focused on health, education, children's welfare, and environmental issues.
Today I'm in the San Bernardino Mountains to do something that's very exciting. We are planting the 50 millionth tree via Eddie Bauer and American Forests. And I'm very excited about it. I got to plant the 50 millionth tree, and I got to name it Gordon, which I feel pretty good about.
They have made significant donations to charities such as Covenant House, an organization providing support for homeless and at-risk youth. Reynolds has worked with the environmental organization Natural Resources Defense Group to advocate for renewable energy and to bring attention to the effects of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico.
Many people don't know this, that I'm the only person in the history of the New York City Marathon to cross the finish line legally dead. So that's me. I was incredibly inspired. My nipples are fine, sir. Thank you very much. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I was incredibly inspired by the foundation's progress, and I then joined the board of directors. And that progress is incredible. When I joined the board, it was 2008, and the foundation had funded over $150 million in research programs. Today, we're on the precipice of $1 billion. That's just, yeah, holy shit.
Ryan Reynolds found a voice through social media where he could use his fandom and comedy flair to market his business ventures and upcoming movies. He can hook in viewers and sell almost anything. The actor has an incredible ability to add emotional weight to parts that might otherwise be superficial.
This is a creative force, and he's something more rare than a great artist. He's a good man. And we know this in this room, those of us who know him. This is a good dude, a really, really good person.
And yes, he makes incredible films. And yes, he's an amazing dad and husband, and he's gorgeous. There, I said it. He walks into a room and it immediately smells like chocolate chip cookie dough with a hint of port wine. Ryan Rodney Reynolds, or Rod, as you are affectionately called by your fans. You are an incredibly talented actor, filmmaker, businessman, but more importantly, you're just a great guy, and I'm lucky to be able to call you my friend.
And I can honestly say that there is no person on earth that I would rather be doing this with than Ryan. He's massively successful in everything that he does. His work ethic is unparalleled. His talent is undeniable, and he has as much integrity as anyone I've ever met. And all these things are important, very important attributes in a business partner, but they aren't the reasons that I love him. And I do love him. He's been able to accomplish all of these things while never straying from an unwavering commitment to simple, basic kindness. He approaches every project, every endeavor, every relationship, every interaction with a kindness that is so striking, it's disarming. You're almost waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it never does, and it never will, because there is no other Ryan. What you see is exactly what you get.
Movies, they bring people together in ways both figurative and literal. And that togetherness feeling is, more than anything else, is what I yearn for. It's what I yearn to create. Whether it's sitting with my family watching TCM on a near nightly basis, or reading people's tweets about Deadpool or Free Guy, the act of bringing people together for a second, for a few minutes or a few hours is a great contribution, especially as the world predictably conspires to divide us. There are so many people who have helped will me to this moment in time, helped will me to this stage. There's too many to mention and too many to thank. And despite what I thought of Jeff Bridges' comment 8 years ago, I'm starting to suspect I may be part of a community.
His strong determination to push through any challenges and break into different industries has led him to have a hugely successful career. More importantly, however, he is respected and loved by those around him. Kindness is at the heart of everything that Ryan Reynolds does.
And yes, he creates magic in his work, but man, oh man, does he create magic in his real life. And my girlies, they know what I'm talking about, huh, JJ?
Despite all his triumphs, what is most important to him is his family, and this speaks volumes.